Hello, this is Wallsh here, Descendant of Nurgle. This video is a review of Mist Legacy. The good, the bad, and some features I would personally like to see added to the game. If you agree with me or disagree with me with anything that I'm saying in this, please let me know. I'd love to hear what you think. So first of all, it is important to remember this game is early access. I have 60 hours in the game right now, and there is still stuff in this game I don't know and have not seen. I've been playing pretty much without looking anything up, and every once in a while I'll do like a group for a boss or a portal that's really hard, but mostly I've been doing it solo. The graphics are very simple and in my opinion very pleasant. I love the atmosphere. It is very misleading. It makes you feel like this is going to be like a chill, easy farm game. You fight a bunny with some horns on it. It's fine. You see a wolf, but the difficulty is going to spike really quickly and really often. This game has a very old school style of progression, and I forgot how difficult and overwhelming it can be. But also, it is so rewarding and it's so excited. When you finally get to the point where you are not scared of thieves in this game, you will feel like a freaking action hero. You'll be like, yeah, you just walk by and you're not scared anymore. If you haven't played the game, you won't understand, but trust me, it's amazing. The entire draw of these games for myself is just the absolute challenge. Not just simply like really hard combat, but like figuring out how to be efficient with your time, how to explore the world safely, learning all the mechanics, learning how to do things correctly. I just love learning all of that stuff in a very punishing environment. And this game is very punishing. I really want to talk about the resources and the crafting in this game. It's not simply, oh, craft with the highest tier metal and wood that I have for everything. Oh, are you wearing full steel? Oh, you're wearing full bronze? Garbage. Like it's more complicated than that. All of the resources themselves even have their own stats. Like their density, like their flexibility, all of them. Like sometimes you'll be making an armor and like the highest tier metal you can have, like you have on you, is like the worst thing for it. Maybe it's got really bad durability. Maybe it doesn't even give any armor. But then the cotton that you put into it is like you want the really high tier sometimes, and sometimes you want the low tier depending on what stats you want. I just really like that it's not just a very simple which bar is best. It's like figuring out and becoming immersed and learning all the resources and what they're good and bad at. Crafting is the glue that holds games like this together for me. If I don't enjoy the crafting, like if it's tedious or it's just boring, I will leave an RPG or an MMO so fast. For example, my main game that I play is Path of Exile. I've played it for like 6 years or something. It's my favorite game because of the crafting. There's a lot of stuff in the game I don't like, and I'm not going to get into it because this is about Mist Legacy. But like the crafting just keeps me playing, man. Like it's really hard to make me stop playing if your crafting is really good. All right, let's talk about the big negative with the game that I keep seeing on Steam, the shop. So, yes, you can spend money to progress and gather faster in this game. The second I saw that, I immediately felt myself pulling away from the game, and I was like, "Oh, great, what's the point?" But I played anyway. And it's really important to remember you will never interact or be interacted with by another player unless you allow it. No one can attack you, no one can farm your stuff, no one can steal your loot, nobody can like kill a boss you were about to kill because it's your own instance, your own zone. You're not sharing a zone with everyone else. You are single player unless you decide otherwise. Now, if you want a PvP, I will tell you they got the advantage. They can have a five-person party and you'll have three, and you will not win. But if you're coming to this game for the PvP, this is not the game for you. Like, this game does not really have much of PvP at all. It's early access, they're sorting a lot of stuff out. But it is important also to mention for the PvP, because I actually almost forgot about it, so I'm glad I didn't. If you want to, let's say you want to do the 1v1 PvP where it's like 5v5 or whatever, you could just have your four friends with you against their four friends. I think you have to do the 5v5 for that. Like I think the 1v1, 2v2 and etc just means how many players can be on each team. But I'm going to be honest, like no one even wants the PvP. I haven't seen anyone try to do it yet, so I'm not really sure. I will say I am excited this feature's in the game because I love PvP. I used to PvP in Diablo 2, and then I PvP'd for years in RuneScape. I just love the wilderness, going out there, fighting someone, taking their stuff. I love that. You won't get that here. There is no taking loot and stuff like that. It's just like a ranking system, and you can earn the premium currency, but which is kind of cool, but it's not very much. So more about the shop. You can beat the game with 3 people, like without buying slots, but it will be more difficult and take a lot more time. This problem goes away, however, if you have any friends to play with, or even just ask in chat. I help like 3 or 4 people every day. Like, hey, can someone help me open my Whisper portal, or someone help me do this boss? And people in chat are always willing to help. No, I shouldn't say always, but I've always seen them help. But like, 3 months, maybe people will be different. I don't know. But right now, they're pretty awesome. This brings me to the next topic, the community. I know the game is small right now, so it's easier to have a friendly community, but trust me, I play a lot of early access stuff, and people are not always this nice. Currently, people are really chill and welcoming, and they're really helpful to new players. I've been seeing people like go out of their way to help people get their loot back and stuff. They were stuck because they got killed by thieves, but personally, I'm all about helping new players. If you see me in game, you see me in chat, feel free to ask me for help. If I'm free or willing at the time, I'll definitely help you out. I strongly recommend you try this game. Sit down, play it for an hour, maybe once or twice. Don't go crazy, just kind of chill. Unless you like to go crazy and try to go fast, that's fine. The game is free, it's early access. I already have 60 hours of gameplay, and last year or two, I've spent $60 on games that haven't lasted me 60 hours. So if you like grinding RPGs with good crafting, active developers, and optional PvP, I recommend you try this. Now for what I would love to see added or changed in the game. I put this after the review. That way, if you didn't want to see this, you didn't have to skip over it. Don't worry, you won't hurt my feelings. It's okay. This isn't a review. This is what I think would make the game better. The first change I'd really like to see is let the player buy their fourth character slot with gold. Now, if they buy a fourth slot with crowns, I don't think they should be able to do this because then they could get around the 1600, which I think is a little expensive, but I get why they're doing it. But I don't want to get into that. That's not what I'm talking about. But let that slot be purchased for like 10 or 20,000 gold, which is a ton of gold in the game, especially early on. But it would give the player an obtainable goal that doesn't require them to pay money. It's not like, okay, I have to figure out how to beat the game with only 3 people. Now it's like, okay, I gotta grind the gold and then do it. I think that's fine. That way there's less pressure on the player to buy, and it gives them choices, and choices in RPGs are good and interesting. You can keep the last slot 1600, like I said, I think that's fine, but I really think this would be a positive change for the players. I'm not going to talk about repair or selling broken gear because the devs have already addressed both of these things, and I recommend you read their post on Steam because they're well aware of the issue and they've already presented us with solutions. Now, what I'm about to say is something I think would give this game an entirely new mechanic. It would stretch out through the entire game to add more elements and choices for the player. I think you should give all non-boss monsters and whatever really overpowered ones are out there, balance it of course, a small chance, 1% or less, of dropping an egg or a baby of itself. It'll be level 1, it'll be super weak, require a ton of leveling, and maybe like when it reaches max it prestiges back to 1 but it's bigger. Whatever, make it actually like a grind that you have to do. Also make it so you can only have one, we'll call it, just for the purpose of this explanation, a tame. So let's say you tamed a cobra, you can't have a cobra and, you know, I don't know, a lion or something. You can only have one in your party. Imagine how fun it would be to like try to theory which mob would be really good for your team. And then you go out and farm that mob for a while, and then maybe you try to be efficient and farm the resources around it as well. And maybe you get another egg by accident while farming. Maybe you learn a new strategy and you make a new team. I think it would be just so interesting. Maybe even let their skills roll. It's like, oh, you got a really good one. Oh, you got a really bad one. Like, I don't know. You'd have to balance it, and it would take a lot of math, but I think it would be really interesting to the game, and it would let you plan and strategize in a way that you just can't right now. There's a lot of elements you could add and talk about with this, but I don't want to get into it too much because it makes me really excited. Um, but I just want to say, if you made it this far, I really appreciate you listening. I really hope you give the game a try. I think it's really fun, and I think you'll enjoy it.